The whisper of the sands. The sun beat down on the golden sands of the Egyptian desert, casting long shadows across the rocky terrain. The wind whispered ancient secrets through the crevices of time-worn stones, as if the desert itself was alive, watching, waiting. Three teenagers stood at the entrance of a forgotten cave, nestled between two colossal boulders. A rusted sign, barely legible, read, "Cave of Anubis, do not enter." Layla turned to the others, her brown eyes sparkling with excitement. "We're literally standing in front of history," she whispered. "This cave isn't on any map. Not on paper, not online. No records. This is it. This could be..." The one Noah rolled his eyes but smiled. "You say that every time we nearly die looking for something that probably doesn't exist?" "Shut up and help me with the scanner," she replied. Keon, chewing gum and adjusting the backpack on his shoulders, stepped forward. "Do we really have to go in now? I mean, it's like haunted, cursed, dusty old God knows what territory." Layla ignored him. "We didn't come this far to chicken out." Into the darkness inside, the cave was cool and damp, a stark contrast to the blazing heat outside. Dust danced in the beams of their flashlights. Hieroglyphics covered the walls. No, more than that. They glowed faintly, as if imbued with some long-lost energy. "Guys," Noah muttered, "these carvings, they're not typical. They're not just Egyptian. There's something else. Sumerian? Maybe older?" Layla crouched and touched the markings reverently. "It's a fusion," she breathed. "Different civilizations, connected through this site. This is insane." They ventured deeper, and that's when they saw it. A massive circular door, half buried in the cave wall, covered in rotating discs with hieroglyphs, strange stars, and an eerie central symbol, a golden eye surrounded by spirals. Noah stared. "That's not a tomb entrance. That looks like..." Layla turned slowly. "A machine." They tried turning the discs. Nothing happened. Until Kian, who had been leaning against the wall, accidentally pressed a hidden panel. The cave trembled. The ground rumbled. The discs spun on their own. The golden eye flared to life. A low hum filled the chamber. Then silence. Noah checked his watch. It was frozen. I think we just broke time." The machine surged, and a blinding light engulfed them. Arrival in the ancient past. They awoke, not in the cave, but in the middle of a bustling city. Obelisks towered above. Papyrus scrolls were being traded in the markets. People in linen robes walked past ox-drawn carts, and in the distance, the unmistakable shadow of the Great Pyramid loomed over the land. "No way," Kian said. Layla was speechless. Noah pulled out his phone. No signal. "We're in ancient Egypt," Layla whispered. "We've traveled back in time." The Pharaoh's Gate. The dry heat hit them first. The moment the light faded, they were on their feet, surrounded by tall palm trees, the scent of papyrus in the air, and the distant sound of rhythmic drums. A flock of ibis birds flew overhead, squawking loudly. They stood at the edge of a dirt path, leading into a vast city of sandstone, ancient Thebes. They didn't know how they knew, but they knew. Layla gasped. "We're not just in any part of Egypt. This is Thebes, during the reign of Pharaoh Akhenaten." Noah blinked. "I swear I saw that name in one of Professor Thorne's journals. Isn't he the one who tried to erase all the old gods?" Layla nodded. "Exactly. The heretic pharaoh. This is history, rewriting itself, eyes of the gods." As they walked down the dirt path, they blended as best they could. Luckily, Layla had packed loose linen clothes in case they needed local disguises. Kian snorted. At least we're not in the middle of a dinosaur stampede. Layla wasn't listening. She was staring at the enormous statues that flanked the entrance to the city. Each one had the same motif, the Eye of Ra, but scratched out violently. "Something's wrong," she said. "This isn't normal religious imagery. This is rebellion." As they passed under the stone gate, 2 armored guards eyed them. They whispered to each other in ancient Egyptian. Somehow, miraculously, Layla could understand them. New faces. Mark them. Her heart skipped a beat. They kept walking. The Temple of Light. The trio ducked into a narrow alley and ended up in front of a crumbling stone structure, its entrance partially blocked by fallen debris. An old sign etched in stone above the archway read, "House of the Sky Flame." Inside it was dark, but Layla's flashlight was still functioning somehow, lit the space. On the walls were frescoes, an entire narrative painted in ochre and gold. The story of a portal, a machine, a war between time travelers and the high priests. Noah stepped back. "Are you seeing this? This isn't myth. This is a historical record of time travel." At the center of the temple was a pedestal, and on it, a gear, the same shape as the one on the door in the cave. They were connected. Suddenly, footsteps. "Run!" Kian yelled, grabbing the gear as Noah knocked over a clay pot to slow whoever was chasing them. The guards pursued. They spilled into the alley again, panting and tore through the narrow streets. Behind them, armored figures in golden chest plates and jackal-headed helmets shouted orders. Layla shouted, "To the river!" They ran toward the Nile's edge, dodging merchants, animals, and curious eyes. Arrows whistled past them. A fisherman's boat was docked nearby. Noah leapt in and began untying the rope, while Kian punched a soldier that got too close. Layla jumped last as they pushed off. One guard leaped and nearly grabbed the edge, but Kian smashed an oar into his face. The guard fell with a splash. They drifted into the dark waters, safe, for now. A new truth. Hours later, anchored in a patch of reeds, they sat in silence. The stars above them were ancient, pure, unpolluted. Layla held the gear in her lap. This isn't just a piece of a machine. It's a key. Noah nodded slowly. The cave. The gate. The story of the temple. But there's more than one of these portals. Kian cracked his knuckles. And someone doesn't want us to find them. Layla looked up at the stars. Then it settled. We're not tourists anymore. We're explorers. Time travelers. The Pharaoh's Gate. The dry heat hit them first. The moment the light faded, they were on their feet, surrounded by tall palm trees, the scent of papyrus in the air, and the distant sound of rhythmic drums. A flock of ibis birds flew overhead, squawking loudly. They stood at the edge of a dirt path leading into a vast city of sandstone. Ancient Thebes. They didn't know how they knew, but they knew. Layla gasped. "We're not just in any part of Egypt. This is Thebes, during the reign of Pharaoh Akhenaten." Noah blinked. "I swear I saw that name in one of Professor Thorne's journals." "Isn't he the one who tried to erase all the old gods?" Layla nodded. "Exactly. The heretic pharaoh. This is history rewriting itself. Eyes of the gods." As they walked down the dirt path, they blended as best they could. Luckily, Layla had packed loose linen clothes in case they needed local disguises. She handed them out quickly. Noah changed behind a bush, grumbling. "You know, this whole getting stuck in time thing would be way cooler if there was Wi-Fi." Kian snorted. "At least we're not in the middle of a dinosaur stampede." Layla wasn't listening. She was staring at the enormous statues that flanked the entrance to the city. Each one had the same motif, the Eye of Ra, but scratched out violently. "Something's wrong," she said. "This isn't normal religious imagery. This is rebellion." As they passed under the stone gate, two armored guards eyed them. They whispered to each other in ancient Egyptian. Somehow, miraculously, Layla could understand them. New faces marked them. Her heart skipped a beat. They kept walking. The Temple of Light. The trio ducked into a narrow alley and ended up in front of a crumbling stone structure, its entrance partially blocked by fallen debris. An old sign etched in stone above the archway read, "House of the Sky Flame." Inside, it was dark, but Layla's flashlight, still functioning somehow, lit the space. On the walls were frescoes, an entire narrative painted in ochre and gold. The story of a portal, a machine, a war between time travelers and the high priests. Noah stepped back. "Are you seeing this? This isn't myth. This is a historical record of time travel." At the center of the temple was a pedestal, and on it, a gear, the same shape as the one on the door in the cave. They were connected. Suddenly, footsteps. "Run!" Kian yelled, grabbing the gear as Noah knocked over a clay pot to slow whoever was chasing them. The guards pursued. They spilled into the alley again, panting, and tore through the narrow streets. Behind them, armored figures in golden chest plates and jackal-headed helmets shouted orders. Layla shouted, "To the river!" They ran toward the Nile's edge, dodging merchants, animals, and curious eyes. Arrows whistled past them. A fisherman's boat was docked nearby. Noah leapt in and began untying the rope while Kian punched a soldier that got too close. Layla jumped last as they pushed off. One guard leaped and nearly grabbed the edge, but Kian smashed an oar into his face. The guard fell with a splash. They drifted into the dark waters. Safe. For now. A new truth. Hours later, anchored in a patch of reeds, they sat in silence. The stars above them were ancient, pure, unpolluted. Layla held the gear in her lap. This isn't just a piece of a machine. It's a key. Noah nodded slowly. The cave, the gate, the story on the temple wall. There's more than one of these portals. Kian cracked his knuckles. And someone doesn't want us to find them. Layla looked up at the stars. Then it settled. We're not tourists anymore. We're explorers, time travelers. Duat's whisper. The air was heavier in Duat. The sky glowed in strange violet hues, and the landscape stretched with obsidian hills and blackened rivers. The trio walked cautiously, the heat rising from the ground as if the earth itself breathed. Layla clutched the gear close to her chest. "It's not just a myth," she whispered. "Duat is real, the underworld of the ancient Egyptians." Noah spun around slowly, scanning their alien surroundings. "And we just walked straight into it." Kian exhaled sharply. "Great. From ancient Egypt to Egyptian hell. The river of judgment. In the distance, a great river shimmered with golden light. As they approached, they saw stone statues lining the riverbank. Giant jackals, ibis-headed gods, crocodile-toothed beasts. Their eyes followed the trio's every move. From the mist emerged a long barge, paddled by a silent, hooded figure. It docked without sound. The figure raised an arm, pointing to the boat. Layla gulped. "It's the ferryman." "Should we trust him?" Kian asked. "Do we have a choice?" Noah said. They boarded. Voyage through shadows. As the boat sailed down the golden current, visions shimmered in the water. Memories of their lives, Layla's childhood, reading books about pharaohs. Kian training in martial arts with his father, Noah sketching blueprints of machines in his garage. The ferryman spoke only once. To pass, you must face truth. Suddenly, the boat stopped. A temple loomed ahead, towering columns, hieroglyphs carved in blood-red ink, guarded by Anubis himself. The weighing of the heart. Anubis held a set of golden scales. Your hearts must be weighed against the feather of Mayat, he declared. Only the pure may continue. One by one, they stepped forward. Layla's heart was lifted, glowing with truth. It balanced. Kian's trembled, flickered with doubt, but it steadied. Noah's heart burned bright with curiosity, not malice. It too balanced. Anubis bowed. You may pass. Behind him, a gateway opened, circular, swirling like the portal they'd entered before, but far more unstable. Secrets of the gear. In the gateway's glow, ancient writing danced across the walls. The bearers of the gear shall awaken the eye of Ra. The eye sees all. The eye decides all, Layla whispered. It's not just a key. It's a map. A map to what? Noah asked. To the final temple, she replied. To the truth behind the gods. Behind the time machines. Maybe even behind the origin of time itself. Suddenly, the guardians from earlier stepped out of the shadows, but they didn't attack. They bowed. You have passed the test. The tallest one removed his mask. Beneath it was a face of golden circuitry and stone. A voice, mechanical and ancient, said, You are no longer intruders. You are chosen Chronokai, protectors of the rift. The choice. The portal shimmered again. It pulsed with energy, growing unstable. Layla looked to her friends. If we go through, there's no turning back. Kian grinned. We're already too deep. Noah smirked. What's one more time jump? Together they stepped forward into the light and vanished. End of Chapter 1. Beneath the blazing sun, the portal slammed shut behind them. A brilliant white light gave way to searing heat and golden dunes that stretched endlessly in all directions. The trio tumbled out into the sand, coughing and squinting beneath the blazing Egyptian sun. The wind howled like a warning, lifting grains of sand into the sky like sparks from a fire. Layla was the first to stand. Where are we now? She murmured, shading her eyes. A colossal stone lion loomed on the horizon. Not just any lion, Sekhmet, the lioness goddess of war and protection. Her statue was easily 20 meters high, carved from red granite and half buried beneath centuries of sand. Kian stood beside her, brushing sand from his arms. Looks like we're not in Duat anymore. Noah took out the gear. It pulsed faintly. The reading's unstable. This place is old, really old, the forgotten city. As they trekked closer to the Sekhmet statue, ruins began to appear. Collapsed temples, cracked obelisks, fractured murals still flickering with faint blue energy. This must be the city of Sekhmet, Layla whispered in awe. The lost capital. It's not even on modern maps, Noah raised an eyebrow. So, we're standing in a city erased by time? Kian chuckled. Typical. We time travel into danger. From beneath the sand, something pulsed. A heartbeat, rhythmic and slow. Boom, boom. They all froze. The sound came from beneath the lion statue. The awakening. Suddenly, the ground shook. The statue of Sekhmet opened its eyes. 2 crimson orbs lit with ancient fire. With a hiss of steam and a grinding of gears, the base of the statue split open, revealing a staircase descending into darkness. A voice, ancient and feminine, echoed across the dunes. Only the brave may enter the temple of fire. Only the pure may wield the eye of Sekhmet. Layla took a hesitant step forward. It's calling us, Noah groaned. Why is it always underground temples? The descent. The air grew warmer as they descended the spiral stairs. Torches ignited along the walls on their own, casting flickering shadows across the stone. Carvings of Sekhmet in battle adorned the hallway, scenes of her defeating demons, punishing the wicked, and even battling Ra himself. At the bottom, they found a circular chamber filled with a reddish glow. A pedestal stood at the center, holding a gemstone, a ruby the size of a fist, pulsating with power. Layla reached out, but the air shimmered and a figure materialized. An old woman, draped in black and gold robes, eyes glowing silver. The guardian of the flame, Kian said quietly. She spoke with a voice like dry sand. You do not belong in this time, yet you are here. Why? Layla stepped forward. We're here to understand, to help. There's something about this gear. She held it up. That's tied to your people, your gods. The guardian's gaze narrowed. Then prove your intent. With a wave of her hand, the chamber began to spin. The walls collapsed into sand. The ruby floated into the air, splitting into 3 blazing shards, each flying toward one of them. Trial by fire, Layla's trial. She found herself in a great library of fire, scrolls burning, shelves crumbling. A spectral version of her younger self appeared. You always chase knowledge, the phantom whispered. But what if the truth burns you? Layla faced her fear. Let the burning scrolls pass through her untouched. Then I'll burn for what I believe in. Kian's trial. He stood alone in a battlefield. His father appeared, not proud, but disappointed. You fight shadows instead of truth. What are you afraid of, Kian? He clenched his fists. Of losing people again. But he didn't run this time. He stood and faced the illusion. Noah's trial. He stood before an unfinished machine, his childhood invention. A voice whispered, You'll never be enough. Not smart enough, not strong enough. He picked up a gear and slammed it into place. Watch me. The chamber reforms. The trio reappeared in the temple chamber. The guardian bowed. You have passed. The ruby recombined and embedded itself into the gear Layla carried. It glowed with new energy. You now carry the eye of Sekhmet, said the guardian. It reveals truth, but truth has a price. Suddenly, loud horns blared above. Noah ran to the staircase and looked out. Guys? Chariots, dozens of them. Soldiers in black and gold. They found us, he said. The chase begins. Layla grabbed the gear. We can't let them take this. The guardian nodded solemnly. Then run. They sprinted up the stairs, past flaming walls and crumbling stone, out into the sun-drenched ruins just as the first arrows whistled past. Kian rolled behind a collapsed pillar. We're not gonna outrun chariots. Layla slammed the gear into the ground. It hummed. A ripple passed through the sand. Suddenly, a giant sandstorm erupted behind them, blinding, choking, scattering the soldiers. Noah stared wide-eyed. That was you! Layla looked down at the gear. I think the eye listens now. Final scene. As they ran across the dunes, Layla glanced back at the ruins. Behind them, the soldiers regrouped. One stood taller than the rest, his helmet shaped like a hawk's head. He raised a black staff. The sand froze midair. Kian gasped. What the hell? Layla's face went pale. That's not just a commander. That's High Priest Karun, guardian of the Eternal Gate. Noah shouted, Then let's not hang around to meet him. They disappeared over the ridge, the sun dipping behind them, the winds of destiny howling in their wake. The Eternal Gate. The sun dipped lower over the horizon, painting the desert in blood-orange hues. Layla, Noah, and Kian sprinted through the dunes, the eye of Sekhmet pulsing with heat at Layla's side. Behind them, the figure in the hawk-shaped helmet raised his black staff once more. This time, the sand beneath their feet began to shift, rising in serpentine ridges. The desert itself was coming alive. "He's controlling the sand!" Noah yelled. "Just keep running!" Layla shouted back, pulling the gear tighter to her chest. Her feet burned from the heat of the desert floor, now vibrating with unnatural energy. The hidden path. As they approached a jagged outcrop of obsidian rock, a strange vibration hit them like a wall. The gear hummed, resonating with a deep, echoing tone. From the base of the cliff, a glowing archway appeared, half buried in sand, inscribed with ancient glyphs that shimmered in red. "It's another gate," Layla breathed. "But to where?" Kian asked, blade half-drawn. Noah approached and squinted at the symbols. "These are not standard hieroglyphs. They're older, pre-dynastic, proto-Mesopotamian even. This gate predates recorded history." A voice echoed faintly from within the gate. "To see truth is to lose comfort. Enter only if you accept the burden." Layla didn't hesitate. "We go in." The gate responded with a deep shh sound, like wind rushing through 1,000 tombs. The realm between realms. They stepped through and found themselves in a liminal space, half real, half dream. A shimmering path stretched above a sea of stars, leading toward a monolithic temple suspended in nothingness. Around them, celestial beings, part bird, part flame, flew in slow circles, whispering prayers in forgotten tongues. "This is no longer Egypt," Kian whispered. "It's the veil," Layla said, awe in her voice. "The place between places. The eye brought us here inside the temple. 3 doors awaited them, each etched with a symbol, earth, water, fire. A voice echoed, ancient and genderless. Each of you must choose. Not all paths lead back Kian's path. The door of fire, Kian, drawn to the flame, entered first. Inside, he faced a hall of mirrors. Each reflection showed a different version of himself. Mercenary, king, coward, martyr. One stepped out of the mirror, sword drawn. Kian fought, not with strength, but with acceptance. "I am all of them," he said, lowering his blade. The fire around the room dimmed, the mirror self nodded and merged with him. When he emerged, a flame-shaped tattoo glowed on his forearm. Layla's path. The door of water. Layla's room was submerged in a deep ocean. She walked along the seabed, air bubbles forming every time she exhaled a question. At the center stood a giant hourglass filled with blood-red sand. A whisper circled her. "Knowledge is heavy. What are you willing to forget?" One by one, she offered memories, her childhood, her first book, even her name. As she did, the hourglass cracked. The sea drained instantly. On the floor lay a scroll of silver ink. She picked it up. "I will remember again someday," she said, stepping out. Noah's path, the door of earth. Noah faced a crumbling city, machines broken, towers fallen. He walked alone through the ruins of innovation. At the center, a boy sat crying. It was him, as a child. "I failed," young Noah sobbed. "I built a machine that broke time." Noah kneeled. "No, you built hope, and I'm here to finish what we started." The ground shook. Vines burst from the stone, wrapping around him, leaving a leaf-shaped mark over his heart. He emerged stronger, rooted. The temple's core reunited. The 3 entered the heart of the temple. A floating sarcophagus spun slowly above a pool of molten gold. Within it, a mummified figure with 2 faces, one serene, one screaming. "This is Pharaoh al-Tahar, Layla whispered. The ruler who tried to erase Sekhmet from history. A deep groan echoed through the veil. The sarcophagus cracked. From the shadows, High Priest Karun stepped forth. But here, he looked different. His body taller, crowned with a serpent, skin obsidian. You've passed the trials, he said, but the eye belongs to me. Karun raised his staff. From the molten pool, shadow creatures erupted. The battle in the veil. A massive battle unfolded. Layla channeled the eye to summon radiant energy shields. Kian fought with his twin blades, now flaming thanks to his mark. Noah used the leaf mark to control stone pillars, smashing enemies with seismic force. Karun chanted an ancient incantation. The veil trembled. Stars blinked out. He's collapsing the realm, Noah screamed. Layla clenched the gear. We need to anchor it, now. Together they placed their artifacts, scroll, mark, tattoo, onto the sarcophagus. A beam of light burst upward, piercing the collapsing sky. Escape Karun shrieked as he was pulled into the sarcophagus. The lid slammed shut. The creatures vanished. The temple crumbled. A portal opened. Without thinking, the trio leapt through, just as the veil exploded in a shockwave of starlight. Return to reality. They landed hard, back in the desert, near the original ruins. The gear was now silent. The eye of Sekhmet. Dark. Layla gasped. We were only gone a minute here? But it felt like days, Kian muttered. Noah looked around. Then time's not just a river, it's a riddle. Far in the distance, a hawk circled. Was it watching or warning? The desert winds were no longer strangers to Noah, Aiden, and Lily. As the trio pressed onward, the copper-orange sands of ancient Kemet shifted beneath their feet like a living ocean, whispering secrets of forgotten dynasties. The sun, a fierce golden eye in the sky, bore down on them relentlessly. But it wasn't just the heat that tightened their chests. It was the feeling of being watched. They had barely escaped the clutches of the pharaohs' guards the night before. Hiding in the crevices of broken statues near the ruins of a fallen colossus, they slept in turns. Now they marched toward what they hoped would be safety and answers. Their destination, a hidden temple known in local legend as the Temple of the Sacred Echo, a place spoken of in hushed tones by villagers and scribes alike. It was said to be built by the high priests of Thoth, god of wisdom, and contained a library of prophecy, possibly even answers about the mysterious chronostone lodged inside their time device. Are you sure this is the right way? Lily asked, brushing her hair from her face as a gust of sand rose like a warning. Noah squinted at the leather map the merchant priest had given them in exchange for a few silver bracelets. Yes, see this ridge? He said once we pass it, the temple will reveal itself, if we are worthy. Aiden rolled his eyes. Worthy? What is this? A mythological treasure hunt? Noah didn't respond, but his fingers clutched the chronostone harder, its silver blue glow pulsing faintly through the linen satchel. Ever since they activated it, they had experienced strange visions, whispers of the past, images that didn't belong to their own memories, and voices calling out names they didn't know. Suddenly, the horizon shimmered. Not with heat, but movement. An entire bluff of sandstone began to ripple like fabric in the wind, until it folded in on itself and revealed a narrow canyon. They exchanged looks. Worthy, Noah said under his breath. Without a word, they descended into the canyon. The entrance. The air grew cooler, tinged with the scent of wet stone and ancient incense. The walls of the canyon were
carved with symbols, hieroglyphs mixed with languages none of them could recognize. At the end of the narrow path stood two massive obelisks, nearly 30 feet tall, covered in silver runes that shimmered under the filtered light. Between them, a circular stone door. Lily stepped forward. There's no handle, no keyhole. Aiden raised an eyebrow. Isn't this your kind of thing, Noah? Noah knelt before the door. It's not just Egyptian. Look, these symbols match the ones on the chronostone. He pressed the glowing stone against the circular pattern in the center. A low hum echoed through the canyon. The door began to glow, then slowly, impossibly, it folded open like layers of silk. What lay beyond took their breath away. The inner sanctum. They stepped into a vast hall, easily the size of a football stadium. Marble pillars inlaid with gold and lapis lazuli stretched toward the domed ceiling, where constellations shimmered in glowing ink. The floor was an endless mosaic of scenes, gods giving knowledge to mortals, stars aligning, travelers stepping through portals. The air thrummed with ancient power. In the center stood a levitating cube, rotating slowly above a silver pedestal. At each corner of the cube, a different element shimmered: fire, wind, water, earth. As they approached, the cube slowed its spin. A deep voice echoed, seemingly from within the walls. 3 walked the sands, not born of this time, bearers of fate, seekers of echo. Will you answer the call or be swallowed by the silence? The voice was not Egyptian nor modern. It was something else, older, timeless. Who's there? Lily asked, trying not to let her voice tremble. The cube responded, its panels unfolded like petals, revealing within a map, but not a normal map. It was a star chart, layered with shifting coordinates, pulses of energy, and what looked like doorways, portals to other times, other realms. Aiden took a step back. Guys, I think we just activated something big. The whispering chamber. The hall shifted, walls retracted, the pedestal lowered. The trio suddenly found themselves in a circular chamber where every whisper echoed 1,000 times, as if voices from every era overlapped. Suddenly, a holographic figure emerged, transparent, shimmering like smoke. He wore long robes, a cobra-shaped crown, and eyes like polished obsidian. I am Mer Akun, High Scribe of the Temple of Echoes. You are not of this time, yet the chronostone binds you to Kemet. Know this. Time is not a river. It is a storm. Noah stepped forward. We came by accident. We found the machine in a cave. We just want to get home. Merakun turned his head slowly. Then you must walk the 10 paths of Thoth, each guarded by a trial, each revealing a fragment of the Codex of Echoes. Only then will your path home reveal itself.
Lily gasped. You mean there are more temples? Yes, Merakin nodded, and you are already being hunted. The Order of the Black Sun, those who would wield time as a weapon, knows you are here. Aiden clenched his fists. They tried to kill us already. We barely made it. Mer Akun's form flickered. You have awakened the temple. The order will come. You must leave now. Seek the temple of the Star Mirror in the valley of Anubis. Go north before nightfall. The room began to collapse, sand flooding the chamber as torches extinguished in rapid succession. As the golden sun dipped below the horizon, casting long crimson streaks across the shifting sands of ancient Kemet, Jake, Ava, and Leo stood frozen in the shadow of the Temple of the Sacred Echo. Their breath caught in their throats, not from exhaustion, but from what they had just witnessed. The prophecy, the song of the ancients, and the statue that seemed to weep with real tears. They were entangled in something far greater than a time-traveling adventure. Jake clenched his fists, glancing behind him at the fading light that struggled to illuminate the narrowing path that led them here. We can't go back the same way. We're being hunted now. Ava nodded. Her mind still reeled from the ancient hieroglyphs they had translated inside the sanctuary. The Order of the Black Sun knows we're here. They'll do everything to get that map. Leo unfolded the linen cloth again. The secret map, etched in light reactive ink, shimmered as dusk fell. The route pulsed faintly, revealing a trail leading away from the temple, through the Valley of Silence and toward a crescent-shaped oasis. There, Ava pointed. That's our only chance. The chase begins. The siblings fled into the falling night, the cool desert air brushing against their skin as they sprinted across dunes. But it wasn't long before the sound of hooves thundered behind them. The Order was near. From the top of a distant dune, a figure watched them, a man cloaked in black and gold, face veiled, with a hawk-shaped medallion that glinted like fire. "Let them run," he murmured in ancient Egyptian, voice sharp as obsidian. "The map will call to us." In the distance, temple guards disguised as merchants began to spread through the caravan routes, blocking off exits from the valley. The Order's plan was in motion. The Cave of Echoing Souls. The trio reached a cliffside littered with collapsed stone. Amidst the rubble, a narrow entrance beckoned, partially concealed by creeping vines and forgotten prayers scratched into the rock. Inside, the cavern opened into a breathtaking amphitheater of natural stone, polished by time and carved by wind. The moment Jake stepped forward, his voice echoed back to him, but the echo spoke in a different language. Ava gasped. "It's not just echoing us, it's translating." Leo examined the walls and found carvings matching the map's markings. He turned to the others. "This is it. The temple was just the gate. This place, this is where the Echo Codex begins." From the center of the chamber, a circular platform began to rise, revealing stone glyphs that glowed faintly in reaction to their presence. As Ava touched one, her eyes filled with light. The glyphs showed visions: massive obsidian pyramids, secret councils of priests, and a portal that shimmered between dimensions. "They were hiding something far worse than we imagined," she whispered. Trial of the Guardians. As they tried to decipher the codex, a rumbling shook the chamber. From hidden crevices, spectral figures emerged, ghostly guardians of the echo, wrapped in tattered linen and glowing with azure fire. "Only those with pure hearts may pass," one intoned, its voice surrounding them from all directions. Each of the three had to stand on a separate pedestal. The trials began. Jacob faced a vision of his greatest failure, leaving his team behind in a collapsed cave years ago. Avril saw herself unable to save a young girl during her first archaeological dig. Leo faced his fear of being powerless, abandoned in the middle of the battlefield. But together, they spoke to the echoes, facing their past not with shame, but resolve. The Guardians bowed and vanished.
But as the wind shifted, the very echoes of the cave began to sing again, a powerful frequency that disoriented the order. The trio sprinted toward the oasis. With a final leap, they dove into the crystal waters as the map lit up, and time itself unraveled around them. The last thing they saw before being swallowed into the spiral was the Hawk Medallion leader screaming into the night. To be continued in Chapter 4, Through the Eye of Ra.
The hot sun beat down upon the golden dunes as the four young explorers, Lena, Kai, Malik, and Nora, wandered through the endless desert surrounding ancient Giza. Behind them, the time machine lay buried beneath an avalanche of sand after a violent sandstorm. They were stranded, centuries before their own time, in a land filled with ancient magic, cunning priests, and shadows of the gods. As they trudged forward, Malik collapsed onto his knees. "We need water," he groaned. His lips were cracked, his eyes sunburned, but Lena pointed to the horizon, where a flicker of light shimmered against the golden sand. There, a mirage, or maybe something real. They moved forward, and soon the outline of a forgotten oasis came into view. Date palms, cool springs, and a collapsed stone temple greeted them. They rushed to drink, rest, and cool their aching bodies. But they were not alone. From the shadows of the ruins, a low hiss echoed. The group froze. A massive serpent, easily the length of a city bus, slithered into view, its scales gleaming like gold. Its eyes burned like emeralds. But instead of striking, the serpent circled them, whispering in a tongue they could not understand. Kai stepped forward, recalling the hieroglyphs he'd studied earlier. He spoke ancient Egyptian words, offering peace and tribute. The serpent paused, lowered its head, and slithered away, vanishing into a hidden tunnel beneath the ruins. Nora gasped. "Did you see that?" It led us somewhere. They followed the tunnel using torches lit from dry palms. Beneath the desert, a vast underground city stretched out before them, forgotten by time, guarded by magic. Murals on the walls showed winged gods, celestial maps, and an army of golden warriors. As they explored, they triggered an ancient mechanism. Walls shifted, a slab slammed shut behind them, and footsteps echoed ahead. Out of the shadows stepped a tall, robed figure with a staff carved like a cobra. High Priest Anubeth, once a counselor to pharaohs, now kept alive by dark rituals. "You are not of this time," he hissed in perfect English. "Your presence disturbs the balance." Kai stepped forward, hands raised. "We're not here to harm. We came by accident." But Anubeth would not listen. With a flick of his staff, shadowy figures emerged, guardians made of sand and bone. A fierce battle broke out. Malik used a makeshift shield to block attacks. Lena hurled stones enchanted with ancient symbols, and Nora deciphered inscriptions that weakened their enemies. As the battle raged, Lena spotted a glyph of the serpent carved into a doorway. She pressed it. A sudden quake erupted. The serpent from earlier burst into the room, scattering the sand warriors. But Anubeth was not defeated. He transformed, revealing himself as a demigod, half man, half serpent. The air turned black with magic. The team, desperate and battered, ran into the hidden chamber beyond the glyph door. Inside, they found the Eye of Horus, a crystal pulsing with ancient energy. Touching it filled them with visions, memories of past battles, secrets of time, and their own intertwined destinies. But they had little time to ponder. With the crystal in hand, they used it to summon the serpent, now revealed as Sateka, a guardian spirit of balance, Melchizedek battled Anubeth in a titanic clash of light and shadow. Finally, Anubeth was sealed within a sarcophagus of obsidian, his magic bound by the serpent's coils. Exhausted, the group collapsed. But as they did, a new tunnel opened, revealing a chamber filled with starlight. At its center, an hourglass suspended mid-air, glowing with the same energy as the eye of Horus. Lena whispered, "We're not done yet. This is just the beginning to be continued."